Have you ever felt lost? Like you don't know where you belong anymore? Imagine being a cowboy doll named Woody. For years, he was the favorite toy of a boy named Andy. He was the leader, the hero, the center of the Playroom universe. But Andy grew up and went to college, passing his beloved toys on to a sweet little girl named Bonnie. It sounds like a happy ending, right? Well, for Woody, it was the beginning of a whole new identity crisis. Suddenly, Woody wasn't the favorite anymore. Bonnie had her own set of toys, and Woody often found himself left behind in the closet, gathering dust. He'd peek through the closet door, watching Bonnie play, feeling like a forgotten relic. He desperately tried to stay relevant, even sneaking himself into her backpack for her first day of kindergarten orientation, just to make sure she was okay. He couldn't help but feel a pang of loneliness, a sense that his purpose was fading away. It was on that day at school that something unexpected happened. Bonnie, feeling a little shy and overwhelmed, was given some craft supplies. From a spork, a pipe cleaner, a broken popsicle stick, and some googly eyes, she created a brand new friend. She named him Forky, and to everyone's surprise, especially Forky's, he came to life. The moment Bonnie wrote her name on the bottom of his popsicle stick feet, he became a toy. But Forky didn't want to be a toy. He was convinced he was trash. "I'm not a toy," he'd cry. "I was made for soup, salad, maybe chili, and then the trash." He was constantly trying to dive into the nearest garbage can, drawn to the comfort of what he believed was his true home. This existential crisis was a nightmare for the other toys, but for Woody, it was a new mission. He saw a chance to be needed again. He took it upon himself to be Forky's guardian, his mentor, explaining the profound joy and responsibility of being a child's toy. Just as Woody was starting to feel a sense of purpose again, Bonnie's family decided to go on a road trip in an RV. Woody knew keeping an eye on the trash-obsessed Forky would be a full-time job. And sure enough, during a late-night drive, Forky saw his chance. Believing he was liberating himself, he leaped out of the RV's window and onto the dark highway. Without a second thought, Woody jumped out after him. His kid needed her toy, and he was going to bring him back, no matter what. As Woody and a very reluctant Forky made their way on foot towards the RV park, Woody tried to explain the magic of being there for a child. He talked about Andy, about the adventures they had, and the comfort he provided. Slowly, Forky started to understand. He began to see that being Bonnie's trash was actually a term of endearment, a sign that he was special to her. They were finally bonding, two lost souls finding their way together. Their journey led them past a large antique store called Second Chance Antiques. While walking by, Woody spotted something familiar in the window display, a lamp. But not just any lamp. It was the base of the lamp that had belonged to his long-lost friend, Bo Peep. Years ago, she had been given away, and Woody had never seen her again. Hopeful, he decided to take a quick detour into the store, dragging Forky along with him. The antique store was a vast, dusty labyrinth of forgotten treasures and creepy ventriloquist dummies who acted as security. It didn't take long for them to run into trouble. They encountered Gabby Gabby, a vintage doll from the 1950s with a beautiful dress but a defective voice box. She had spent decades on a shelf, dreaming of being loved by a child, but she believed her broken voice box was the reason she was always overlooked. When Gabby Gabby saw Woody, she didn't see a friend. She saw a solution. She noticed his pull string and his perfectly functioning voice box. She became obsessed with the idea that if she could just take his voice box and replace her own, the granddaughter of the store owner would finally want her. She and her silent, unnerving dummy sidekicks captured Forky, holding him hostage. If Woody wanted Forky back, he'd have to give up his voice. Just when things seemed hopeless, Woody had a shocking reunion. Bo Peep was there, but she wasn't the delicate shepherdess in a big poofy dress he remembered. This Bo Peep was a survivor. She had broken off from her lamp, taped her porcelain arm back together, and was now living as a lost toy. She was resourceful, independent, and free. She drove a skunk-themed mobile and led a small crew of other lost toys, helping them navigate the world on their own terms. Bo agreed to help Woody rescue Forky. She knew the layout of the antique store and had a network of allies, including the miniature daredevil toy, Duke Kaboom. Their first rescue attempt was a high-stakes action sequence involving catapults, secret passages, and a close call with a cat. But it failed, and they barely escaped. Woody was devastated, but Bo's resilience inspired him. She challenged his entire worldview. For Woody, a toy's only purpose was to have a kid. For Bo, freedom and self-determination were just as valuable. Woody, torn but determined, convinced Bo and her friends to try one more time. This time, the plan was bigger and bolder, involving Buzz Lightyear and the rest of Bonnie's toys creating a diversion at the nearby carnival. They successfully rescued Forky, but during their escape, Gabby confronted them. She wasn't just a villain. She was a heartbroken toy desperate for love. She pleaded with Woody, explaining her dream of belonging to a child named Harmony. Seeing her desperation, Woody's compassion took over. He looked at Bo, who had learned to live without a kid, and then at Gabby, who wanted nothing more. In a moment of incredible sacrifice, Woody willingly gave his voice box to Gabby. The procedure was a success, and Gabby could finally speak perfectly. With her new voice, she approached Harmony, the store owner's granddaughter. But in a truly heartbreaking moment, the little girl took one look at her and tossed her aside, uninterested. Gabby's dream was shattered. She was utterly broken. Woody couldn't leave her like that. As Bonnie and her family were about to leave the carnival, Woody saw a lost and crying little girl. He had an idea. He convinced Gabby to go to her, to be her friend when she needed one most. And it worked. The little girl found Gabby, hugged her tight, and took her home. Gabby had finally found her kid. Now, it was time for Woody to go home too. He and Forky ran towards the RV, but as Woody reached the door, he hesitated. He looked back at Bo Peep, standing there with her friends. He saw a life of adventure, of purpose beyond just one child's playroom. Buzz Lightyear, seeing the conflict in his friend's eyes, gave him the encouragement he needed. "She'll be okay," Buzz said, nodding towards the RV. "Bonnie will be okay." In that moment, Woody made the most difficult decision of his life. After a tearful goodbye with his old friends, he chose not to return to Bonnie. He stayed with Bo Peep. He was no longer Andy's toy or Bonnie's toy. He was a lost toy, but for the first time, he wasn't lost at all. His new mission was to travel with the carnival, helping prize toys find kids and ensuring no toy was ever truly left behind. He had found a new family and a new purpose, not as a possession, but as a guide, helping others find the belonging he had been searching for himself. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more. We'll see you in the next video.